Welcome back, focused learners. We're jumping right into another explainer today. And wow, we are unpacking a true phenomenon. We're talking about a legendary blueprint for success that has literally impacted millions of people around the globe. So if you're looking for a structured, highly efficient pathway to hit your personal and professional goals, well, you are in exactly the right place. Let's just dive straight into the mechanics of Napoleon Hill's absolute masterpiece.
To really hook into the core of this whole philosophy, listen to this quote. Whatever the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve. Think about that for a second. That single, incredibly powerful phrase pretty much distills the entire philosophy of this book. Sure, it's a really bold claim, but as you'll see, it's completely backed by a methodical system that takes those lofty ideas and turns them into concrete, step-by-step reality.
And here it is, the foundational text itself. Specifically, we're looking at the original version, restored and revised, which was compiled by Ross Cornwell. Now, don't just think of this as some old piece of literature. It is, without a doubt, the absolute wellspring for virtually all modern personal success movements. Seriously, every seminar, every new self-help book, or speaker you've encountered today, their DNA traces directly back to these very pages.
But to truly understand its power, we kind of have to look at its origins. As editor Ross Cornwell points out, this book was born out of fire. It was researched and written right during the Great Depression. It was literally designed as a survival tool to help down-on-their-luck people escape total financial ruin. And its resilience over time, it's staggering. Cornwell notes that even during the massive economic black hole of the 2008 financial crisis, people were still using these exact principles to rebuild and thrive. It was built for hard times, and it absolutely holds up.
Okay, let's dive into this and see who actually uses it. The incredible thing is that this blueprint's impact crosses basically all disciplines. On one side, you've got literal world champions. Heavyweight boxer Ken Norton read it 100 times while training to fight Muhammad Ali, and world snooker champion Peter Ebdon, he credits it with giving him the very belief he needed to win his title. On the flip side, look at the business titans. Damon John, the founder of FUBU, S. Truett Cathy, who founded Chick-fil-A, and Donald R. Keough, the former president of Coca-Cola. You literally have elite athletes and massive executives using the exact same manual to reach the absolute pinnacle of their fields.
And its reach goes way beyond just the famous names. Take Dick Herbert. He used these formulas to go from struggling to sell cemetery plots door to door all the way to building the largest cemetery organization in the country. Or Darren Carter, who says the book is the reason his company, Contours Express, even exists, eventually scaling to over 350 fitness centers across 6 countries. Then there's John Ross Palmer, who used it to completely shatter the starving artist stereotype and actually thrive in the professional art world. It's just a completely adaptable framework for literally any industry.
Moving on to a really powerful personal example, Bob Proctor's transformation.
Let me set the scene for you. The year is 1963. We are in a fire hall in a suburb of Toronto, Canada, and Bob Proctor is a 26-year-old guy at his absolute lowest point. By his own account, he was confused, deeply unhappy, flat broke with basically no formal education and absolutely zero business experience. But in that fire hall, his brother Al handed him a gift. It was a copy of this very book, bound in black Moroccan leather. And honestly, that one singular moment completely changed the entire trajectory of his life.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the fundamental mental shift that kick-started Proctor's success. Before he read the book, his focus was entirely on his lack, staring at what he didn't have and listing all the reasons why he couldn't achieve his dreams. But as he started studying Hill's work, a massive pivot happened. His mindset shifted to focusing on what he could do. Instead of just seeing roadblocks, he actively started searching for ways to navigate around them. It was literally a complete rewiring of how his brain approached problem solving.
And the final result of that transformation? It's just incredible. By consistently applying this philosophy, working really hard to develop his strengths and manage his weaknesses, Proctor didn't just stop being broke. He went on to build highly prosperous worldwide companies like the Life Success Group. He ended up dedicating his entire life to helping other people develop their own potential using those exact same principles that originally saved him.
So how does it actually work? Let's break down the 13 steps to riches. The whole journey starts with some pretty foundational inner work. Step 1 is a profound desire. This is the starting point of literally all achievement. Step 2 is faith, which means actually visualizing and having deep belief that you can attain that desire. But step 3 is where the true mechanics really kick in. Autosuggestion. This is basically the medium for influencing your subconscious mind, ensuring those initial desires are deeply cemented. You're essentially programming your own internal operating system.
Let's move to the next phase and see how this builds. Once that internal programming is locked in, your thoughts have to crystallize into action. Step 6 demands organized planning, because let's face it, you cannot succeed without a solid plan. Step 8 is persistence, which is that sustained, relentless effort you need to push through the inevitable walls. And step 9 is absolutely crucial, the power of the mastermind. Your individual effort has to be multiplied by surrounding yourself with a harmonious group of like-minded people. You just simply cannot do it entirely alone.
Finally, we wrap up the blueprint with the highest levels of Hill's methodology. Steps 11, 12, and 13 deal with the subconscious mind, the brain acting as a broadcasting and receiving station for thought, and finally, the sixth sense. This is where Hill explains how mastering all those previous steps actually culminates in unlocking the deepest connecting links of your mind, ultimately opening the door to what he calls the Temple of Wisdom. It is a fascinating progression, going right from basic human desire all the way up to the highest forms of creative thought.
Next up, if you're actually going to pick this up, let's get into these secrets to reading it.
Editor Ross Cornwell has some very strict advice for you first-time readers out there. He says to completely ignore the footnotes on your first pass and literally skip the 52 pages of endnotes entirely. Just skip them. He urges you to avoid those distractions and jump directly to the author's preface. The whole goal here is to absorb the core philosophy immediately without slowing down your momentum. You can totally save the deep academic study for your second read. Then, we have Bob Proctor's personal secret to lifelong success. Get this, he didn't just read the book once, he formed a relentless habit. He read the specific chapter on persistence every single day for 30 consecutive days, and he does this at least twice a year. I mean, ironically, it takes an incredible amount of persistence just to read about persistence for a month straight, right? But this deliberate repetition is what ensures these principles literally become your default operating system.
W. Mitchell, a Hall of Fame speaker whose testimonial is actually featured in the book, perfectly sums up this entire philosophy. He says, "Each time we open this book, we begin a most rewarding journey. Of course, the key is to open it. What are you waiting for?" Think about that. The structured path to success has been completely laid out for you. The tools are sitting right there in front of you. So the only question left is, when will you decide to turn that first page? Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and as always, keep learning.